Hello, I'm June Edwards, and this is Senior Topics for the third week of October. I hope you're enjoying the cooler weather. It's hot one day and then it's cool the next day, and that's just the way it goes. Let's look at our weekly calendar events first, shall we? Okay, we're going to start with the 17th of October, Black Poetry Day. And the San Francisco earthquake in 1989 that forced the demolition of Candlestick Park, which is the giant stadium. It's also National Pasta Day, and I hope you've been tasting a lot of good spaghetti and ravioli and lasagna lately. Looking at the 18th of October, National Meatloaf Day. And with the cooler weather, I've had such a hankering to have meatloaf. I finally made one from scratch. And my son raved about it, and that's always a good experience. It is Little Orphan Annie's birthday, and she was in a comic strip that started back in 1922, and her benefactor was Daddy Warbucks, a millionaire back in the 1920s with some kind of gangster ties, and little Orphan Annie got involved in a lot of different adventures. In 1767, the Mason-Dixon line was established in our country, and Puerto Rico became a United States colony in 1898. Moving right along to October 19th, the Star Spangled Banner was first sung in 1814. Remember the man who wrote the poetry for it after observing how the flag was still standing after the bombardment of Fort Sumter in the War of 1812. And then later music was put with it. So 2 years later, it actually was a song. Thomas Edison demonstrated electric light successfully in 1879. The final battle of the Revolutionary War was in 1781. Moving on to October 20th, Sir James Chadwick, discoverer of the neutron, was born in 1891. And the United States and Great Britain set up the 49th parallel for the boundary of Canada around 1818. So a lot of borders were being settled in October for some reason. On the 21st of October, the Guggenheim Museum opened in 1959. Didn't realize it was that old. It was also the start of the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962 with John F. Kennedy. One of the few mistakes that he did make, referred to as the Bay of Pigs fiasco. But we were able to stay away from nuclear war at that time. Also, Dizzy Gillespie, who is a jazz great, was born on October 21st in 1917. October 22nd, National Nut Day. And as the weather's cooling down and our bodies needs to be warmer, people turn to nuts because it's such a healthy fat. But it doesn't really make you fat if you're careful about how many you eat. Red Ribbon Week is usually the third week of October in most school districts, honoring the people who catch the drug cartel members and honoring the Border Patrol who tries to keep us safe. So Red Ribbon Week is coming up very, very shortly. And a Brazilian soccer player, Edison Pelé, was born in 1940. And that's as far as we're going to go today. Believe it or not, we're almost to the end of the 10th month of this year. Wow, goes by fast. Well, people ask me, what is Indian summer? What is it, why, and when? And here's a beautiful picture to get you in the mood for the fall. Indian summer, any warm day in the fall can be referred to as Indian summer, but actually a real Indian summer, here's the criteria for it. The atmosphere during Indian summer is hazy or smoky. There is no wind. The barometer stands high and the nights are clear and chilly. A moving, cool, shallow polar air mass converts into a deep, warm, stagnant anti-cyclone or high pressure system. It causes the haze and a large swing in temperature between night and day. Well, we get that in our coastal desert climate a lot anyway. But the time of occurrence is also very important. The warm days must follow a spell of cold weather or a good hard frost. We haven't had that here yet, but also be before the first snowfall on the mountains. Now, Indian summer can happen anytime from late August, but in California, it's more like late October into mid-November, because our autumn and the colorful trees and the leaf peeping lasts a lot longer here when the East Coast is already under snow. So the characteristics of the season are a mild and genial temperature, gentle breezes, unusual brightness of the sun, a clear blue sky, sometimes hidden by a veil of gray haze, and the wooded valleys are aglow with the fires of richly tinted leaves still clinging to the trees. And why did they call it Indian summer? Well, we think the term comes from the early Algonquin Native Americans on the East Coast. And here's another gorgeous picture for you to look at. They said the condition was caused by a warm wind sent from the court of their southwestern god, Katontawit, or Great Spirit. Also, the Native Americans would routinely use this brief period of warm fall weather to gather a final round of supplies before winter set in. So it was the last good hunting season. It could also involve European settlers in New England. Each year they would welcome the arrival of a cold wintry weather in late October back east. Then they could leave their stockades unarmed because the Indians had gone to their winter locations. But there came a time when it would suddenly turn warm again, and the Native Americans would decide to have one more go at the settlers. So the settlers referred to that as Indian summer. Well, whatever it is a phenomena, and it's going to happen. I noticed that we've just come out of some 90-degree weather, and now this next week we're going to be mostly in 72 to 75-degree weather. Southern California is a little bit unique, but we do have our own fall. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about California during the fall. By the way, I'm sipping some new tea. This is a great fall tea. So this is my commercial. From Bigelow, it's called Salted Caramel. It is sugar-free, but boy, does it taste good. It doesn't have that bitter taste that you get from some of the fake sugars. So Salted Caramel, if you want to try a new brand of tea, really tastes good. Okay, I'm going to show you some gorgeous photos of fall in the state of California. Some of them will be in the middle part of California, but I also want to emphasize points in Southern California. And we know that in the mountainous areas, whether it's the Los Angeles range or around Big Bear or Fallbrook, you can see pictures like this. Also, in the mountain ranges, the lower foothills, you can go to Oak Glen for apple picking. And there are apple orchards, and you can go over to Riley's farm and some of the other farms and pick pumpkins with your grandkids. They also have hay rides. They put on mock battles from the American Revolutionary War and the Civil War. It's a beautiful sight. Not that far away either. If you want to travel a little bit further north and east, go over to the Sierra Nevadas. And this is from California. What a gorgeous, gorgeous shot. Oh, but you don't have to go that far away. If you drive along the ocean, you can see all sorts of beautiful, colorful leaves because the botanists finally developed some trees that can stand the drought conditions, can stand the hot weather, and they are still deciduous and turn colors in the fall. You never used to be able to find these 20, 30 years ago. But now, especially in Fullerton, around the regional parks or other places, I have a map. I'm going to show you a lot more. You can go to wine country down by the San Diego border, or you can go up to Sonoma and Napa valleys. But there are other wine areas closer. If you go by Solvang, and you will see sites like this. Just remember that fall comes a little bit later here than in other parts of the country. You can go to Whittier Narrows. You can go to Fillmore and take the train to go out to pumpkin patches and enjoy the beautiful fall colors along the foothills of the Los Angeles range. I told you about Big Bear. I told you about apple picking at Riley's farm. You can go south to Julian, and there's some lovely areas down there that you can look at. You can go to the Cleveland National Forest down by Escondido. You can go further south to San Diego. You can go to the Fullerton Arboretum, the Fillmore Railroad, or Griffith Park in Los Angeles, or you can travel some of the drives into the hills just north of LA. And you can get your own Google Maps where to find fall leaves in Southern California. Lots of places. You can go to Laguna Beach after Labor Day. The crowded summer people clear out of Laguna Beach, 50 miles south of LA. And it's so beautiful. It was designated a historic American landscape in 2016. And you can enjoy fall there. No deciduous leaf peeping there, but it's just a nice time with a less crowded beach. I told you you can soak up the Eastern Sierra's fall colors, whether you go to Yosemite, Sequoia National Park, or some of the southern redwoods state parks. You can catch the golden season in Yosemite. It's much clearer. There's not, the crowds have cleared out. People are back in school. You'll see maple trees, reddish or pink dogwoods, and orange oaks. Taiga Road is a sure bet for aspens. If you ride a motorcycle, that's a good way to explore the park. But things do start shutting down in October. So by late October, you have to be cleared out of there. You can go through Anderson Valley's wineries, which is 2 hours from Napa and 1 hour from Sonoma. But again, there are wineries much, much closer to us. There's a wine region just south of San Luis Obispo, and the Santa Barbara area has a lot of it. There's more than 3,000 acres of vineyards and 30 wine labels in that area. And there's more popping up all the time. You can go to Sonoma County, and here you see the haze they were talking about at sunset time that comes during the shorter hours of the day. You can go to Mendocino County Redwoods. Again, the crowds are cleared out. It's a great time for retired people to look. Also, there are a lot of artist festivals going on outdoors right now. Santa Ana has an artist village. Artists started moving into their landmark Santora building about 15 years ago. And now the village there has grown into a funky fusion of galleries, artist studios, folk art shops, and some seriously good and cheap eats and art. You can see that. You can also hop over to Orange and do some antiquing and look at the fall colors changing there. You can catch a wave in Cardiff by the sea. So autumn is bringing a colorful show around the Golden State. And there's a lot more autumn in this state than you may think. From the northern Shasta Cascade Range all the way down to San Diego County, you will find nature's paintbrush at work, turning California's autumn leaves into aspens, oaks, maples, cottonwoods, and dogwoods with glowing golds and traffic stopping reds. The timing does matter, although our fall foliage can last into November when other destinations are already totally bare. Well, now we're going to move on. We've been talking about early California, and I have more fun facts about early California history. So I'm going to share some of that, and then I'm going to talk to you about the movie industry. I got a lot of interesting facts about this state. A lot of things I didn't know. I'm not a native Californian. I'm from up north, a lot further. Okay, so here's more fun facts about early California history. We know that number one, the gold rush sparked one of the biggest mass migrations in the world. From 1848 to 1852, just 4 years, California's population grew from 14,000 people to 223,000, mostly gold-hungry men. The state motto, Eureka, which was adopted in 1849, means I found it. And they were talking about the gold. Number four, the Iron Door Saloon in Groveland claims to be the oldest drinking bar from 1882. Number five, the fastest Pony Express deliveries, 6 days from Missouri to Sacramento, happened after President Abraham Lincoln's assassination, and they wanted to get the news to the entire country. So they were able to do it in 6 days. We can fly that in less than 6 hours now. In the late 1850s, Kennedy Mine, located in Jackson, was one of the richest gold mines in the world and the deepest mine in all of North America. Number seven, the Empire Mine in Grass Valley, this side of Reno, is still operating over 100 years later. It has over 367 miles of tunnels extending 2 miles deep. And they say there's millions of dollars in gold still unmined. So we are still the Golden State. And here's another one. In 1854, the largest gold nugget ever found was in California at Carson Hill along Highway 49 above the Stanislaus River, and it weighed 195 pounds, way more than I weigh. Well, we'll continue with more interesting facts about California next time. And we're going to move along now to the history of the movie business. Big business in Southern California. The history of film began in the 1890s with the invention of motion picture cameras and the establishment of film production companies on the East Coast. The films of the 1890s were under 1 minute long, and until 1927, motion pictures were produced without sound. At first, it was just a novelty shown, in a sideshow in a carnival somewhere. But later, the pictures became several minutes long and consisted of several shots. The first rotating camera for taking a panning shot of the whole effect was built in 1897. And the first film studios were built in 1897. And then special effects were introduced. And of course, who invented a lot of the cameras and machines used for film production? A lot of it was under the control, in the United States anyway, of Thomas Edison. He had some unusual rules. Let's see if I can find that. He was very strict about his rules too. Concentration of ownership has long been a characteristic of the movie business. Edison and the trust. Edison and several business allies controlled the industry in the pre-Hollywood era. And here was some of their rules. Only one reel, no stars, just plain people. Very simple, short stories. Well, no wonder that some of the creative folks rebelled against that. So what did they do? They moved way out to California. In the early 19 teens, Adolph Zucker emerged as the key controller of the movies between 1917 and 1927. He knew how to make deals, and he soon had 303 theaters in the United States by 1921, with production and distribution and exhibition rights. Then the coming of sound was in 1927 and 28. Well, how did Hollywood get into the picture? Let's see if I can find that part of the story. Some of the people decided to come on out. They kind of snuck out to California because of the beautiful weather that was very, very dependable. And they loved it, and they loved that they could shoot their movies, and Edison wasn't around. Well, Edison started sending his lawyers and business people to shut down some of these renegade people. But it was so easy just to escape into Mexico. They could never catch any of them in the act. So after a while, other filmmakers came out and took up a lot of new ideas too. So, what did they do? Well, they started their own companies, their own businesses, and they broke Edison's hold on the film industry. Well, let's see if we can find out more. This was in Los Angeles. One early film was called The Lone-Dale Operator in 1911. It did have a movie star. Blanche Sweet outsmarted the Desperados. Now, this showed some of David Griffith's work. He produced at least 2 one-reel movies a week. The names were not released for fear they would become stars and want higher salaries. But he showed how he could use cross-cutting from one scene to another scene and then back and forth again to various parts of the story and to build more suspense. He also did close-ups. Well, they wanted to move beyond the simple formula that Edison had set up. Industry owners were resistant. They wanted to keep to one reel limited storytelling. Nope, the dissidents left the East completely and moved as far away as they could to Los Angeles, to a rural area near LA. The weather was good, plenty of sunshine, very little rain, and ideal for outdoor movie work, and plentiful barns on farms for inside shots. Then they went to Beverly Hills, and then Griffith and others began to experiment with longer films. Griffith produced the first successful full-length feature film. It ran more than 3 hours. It was very popular, but it was also controversial. It was called Birth of a Nation. It was what we would call highly racist. And it was adapted from a book, The Klansman, by Thomas Dixon. So they had an idealized portrayal of slavery, and that's what was controversial. The significance of Birth of a Nation as a movie showed that it was becoming a middle-class medium. It demonstrated the power and popularity of storytelling through movies, and it showed that huge profits could be made. And then there was the rise of the star system. Early films in the East had not named the actors for fear of creating stars and being forced to raise their salaries. But as Hollywood grew, after 1912, the industry came to rely increasingly on stars to bring people back again and again to the movies. And the population was growing in the area too. Early stars included Charlie Chaplin. In 1913, he only made $130 a week. But by 1914, he was getting $10,000 a week or $500,000 a year. And remember, back then, there was no income tax. Whoa, what an idea. Oh my goodness. He also got a signing bonus of $150,000 for each movie he agreed to do. Other stars were Mary Pickford, Douglas Fairbanks Jr., Fatty Arbuckle, and the Keystone Cops. And by the 1920s, Hollywood studios were relying on stars to carry the movies and even creating new stars when they needed to. Theda Bara was one. She was born Theodosia Goodman and the daughter of a tailor from Cincinnati. She was transformed by one studio into a much more glamorous Theda Bara, which is an anagram for Arab death. And they said she was the love child of a French artist and his Arabian lover. Well, that brought people flocking into the movies. Other stars benefited from the star hype. Remember Rudolph Valentino? Highly popular with women. In 1926, he became ill and died of peritonitis. He had 4 movies that still needed to be released. So his movie studio resorted to a major marketing of his funeral. They paid women to be hysterical mourners, fainting and screaming. His girlfriend suddenly appeared. She'd been too busy to see him when he was sick and not making much money, on the last few of his films. But now all of a sudden she was a devoted mourner. And the funeral worked up so much hype that the last 4 movies he had made over $1 million. Well, that's Hollywood for you. And, it was only going to get bigger and better. And I don't know how long you've lived in the area, but there's a lot of good stories about a lot of wonderful movies and movie stars from our area. If you don't believe me, just go take the tour of Universal's studios and see all the action that's still being recorded even today. Well, that's it for this week, you guys. I hope you're enjoying a very pleasant day in this beautiful season of autumn. I want to say goodbye, everybody. Stay well. See you next week.